All right, Heath. None of this is live. You can start and stop however you want. And one thing I always like to tell people, and you're a professional at this, is kind of weaving in the question into your answer.
Okay.
Kind of like it's an essay question almost. So that's something you're really good at, so I don't need to remind you too much. I guess first off is kind of a double barrel question, two questions in one. Where are we and what do you do here?
You're at the Financial Empowerment Center at Prince George's Community College in Largo, Maryland. This is the home of the flagship Financial Empowerment Center in the United Way of National Capital Area Network. We are in Prince George's County, which has this community college. In fact, the only setup of any of the financial empowerment centers at an institution of higher education. And so we're really grateful for that. And we've been able to leverage academia in this through the Maryland Higher Education Commission work with approved continuing education courses. We've been able to leverage working with college students. And obviously, college students cut across various age demographics from 16 who are duly enrolled to all the way up to 102. Like, we've had people very, very much older than us who've benefited from the services. So it's an interesting little anchor in the community college, and we've taken full advantage of that.
I don't expect you to know all the services off the top of your head, but run through some of the services that people can get here, that community members and students can get here.
So through the Financial Empowerment Center, lately we've been aligned with the Business and Entrepreneurship Department at the college. And so there's a credit side and a continuing education side. And so obviously there's not a credit-bearing entity that the Financial Empowerment Center offers, but we participate with those individuals and the faculty and in the administration on, hey, what do we need to be preparing students for? So we get invited into those circles. In terms of the center and what we offer one-on-one financial coaching. Everything we offer is free. And so we have flyers and different mechanisms to allow people to sign up. One-on-one small business coaching. It doesn't have to be one-on-one. Sometimes people come to us as partners, both on the financial coaching side and in the business side. We also offer home buying education. We offer the tax preparation through the IRS Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program. We also offer continuing education courses that are supported by the college's continuing education department. And so these are mechanisms that we turn to on the more formal side of our work. Then we offer community financial education. So if people request workshops, we go on location there. We have a program called the Money Moonshot Community MVP program, where we award folks $100 who organize and mobilize others, at least 6 or more people, to an event. We like to stimulate the activity around financial education and the community component of group learning. In terms of our suite of programs, this is where it gets a little more interesting. One of those programs, the Money Moonshot I just mentioned, we also have a program called the Credit Builder Loan Match Program, which we do in partnership with Prince George's Community Federal Credit Union. We also have a program that allows folks to have a high yield savings account with seed money in there, such as $1,200. So we're working with Andrews Federal Credit Union on that. We also have other partnerships in the community, including with the University of Maryland's Together program, which for almost a decade now, if not more, the Together program has worked with couples and tried to help couples. So now we have a spin-off program at the center where we have money date nights, and we have couples come out. We have a facilitator, we have a meal for them, and we offer them Ramit Sethi's Money for Couples book. We also do book clubs, formal book clubs, and Ramit Sethi has another book, I Will Teach You to Be Rich, that we leverage. One of our classic programs has been Cash Flow. Cash Flow is a board game. It's based on Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad series and the Cash Flow Quadrant. And so we've been very intentional about using resources in the community. One of the programs I'm most proud of is the family financial literacy initiative where we work with parents who have 4 to 9 year old children. And there are books that we are in partnership with Scholastic providing through that CFPB series, things like Curious George Goes to the Toy Store or Bernstein Bears or different books that have emphasized financial education. And they have a series, Count on Pablo, Tisa Isa Buys a Car, that are curated to the standards that children can learn financial education. So they have 12 to 16 competencies related to that.
One thing that I'm struck every time I hear you speak is something that United Way is really proud about and is kind of in our wheelhouse, the power of partnerships. You've mentioned it just in the first few minutes here. Can you talk a little bit about how strong those partnerships are with you? You can't do this by yourself. You're
Right.
really relying on the community to help with your programming.
Right.
What does partnership mean to you?
Well, partnership is really important. Partnership has different fronts. Our formal partnership with the college is super important because we're kind of a hybrid here. We're philanthropically funded, and we're also based at the college, which is a bunch of in-kind support, including this office suite and different resourcing that way. We are very grateful to have work partners where we're able to work with different departments or units within the college, whether that's been the honors program, the student athletes, different student enrichment programs, such as the Diverse Male Student Initiative, now Strive, or the Women of Wisdom, now Strive here at the college. The student success initiatives at the college run, such as the TRIO program, which is a nationally representative type of program. In all 50 states, there's TRIO. The military and veterans, for example, we've had a long-running partnership with them. We've also gone into the classroom. We do an essay contest every year, and we partner with the English department who provides the professors who are judges for that in part. We have an advisory board through the center where we rely on community members, whether that's folks in government, like Bladensburg has a town administrator who's been to our advisory board and weighed in on how we can partner. We've worked with nonprofit leaders. We've worked with PTA, PTO leaders in the community. We've had professors on the advisory board, business owners on the advisory board. So it's a diverse mixture of folks who have perspective on how the Financial Empowerment Center can better institute and constitute programming.
One thing that strikes me whenever I talk to our friends in financial empowerment centers is the idea that, and maybe it's surprising to folks, perhaps because you've been around 10 years now, maybe it's becoming less surprising, that these services are free.
Yes.
What kind of reaction do you get from community members when they hear that?
Services being free is a part of the philanthropic effort and initiative around this, to make it accessible. So when residents hear that these types of services are free, I think they really take a benefit in knowing that this is about their uplift, their care, their need, and that it's something they can turn to and kind of not have defense walls up. And so they're more open to the service, they're more gravitating to its appeal, and they lean into it in a way that's that they make something of the experience.
And you can look right at me and do your best to ignore the camera, as awkward as all of this is. Okay. What are the needs in the community here that you're looking to fill?
So in our community, there are various needs that people are subject to, whether that's the knowledge of benefits, whether that's the knowledge of where to go if they need to refinance a car loan, whether that's, hey, I have a small business I'm trying to get off the ground. What resources are in the community? Well, not only can you take classes here, but you can also get involved with this ecosystem, from the Chamber of Commerce to the Economic Development Corporation to some of the banks and credit unions and CDFIs that are here. And so those are the types of benefits that people turn to us to grow with. Housing, education, how can I buy a home? How can I invest? How can I retire? How can I? So all of the different ways in which people want to budget their money better or have better outcomes on the financial end. We've been able to explain to them those benefits.
Let's blow out the 10-year birthday candle now. Speaking about need that you feel now, take me back 10 years to the extent you can, because you weren't here exactly 10 years ago, were you? Yeah. What was the need that Prince George's Community College was trying to fill then? Because I'm sure there were some people in the room when this thing started that said, I don't know if we need to do this. This shouldn't be something we should be getting into. And now here we are 10 years later. So what need was the college and United Way kind of looking to fill then, and how has it kind of evolved?
So we had a wonderful professor here who founded this work, and her efforts and her calling around providing tax preparation and then using tax preparation as a lens to do other things with folks who had need. So having your taxes prepared, learning about your credits and deductions that are due you, especially if you're filing on time, is incredibly important. And so she was able to facilitate a year-round tax site. That effort alone got the attention of the United Way in the National Capital Area. United Ways in general were, and this predates even their work here, which is the Financial Empowerment Center in Prince George's County being the first in the region, but there's work across the nation that had predated that in the Midwest with prosperity centers, in the very West Pacific coast with spark points, and in other parts of the Southeast with different types of financial capability centers. And so coming to the Mid-Atlantic, coming to the nation's capital area, this constituted an opportunity for a tax preparation site and a place focused on tax preparation to actually accelerate into having more services and potential.
And what are some of the, maybe it's not statistics, maybe it's stories, maybe it's, what are some of the things you hang your hat on that you're super proud of the work you've accomplished over 10 years here?
Well, what keeps me up at night and what wakes me up in the morning is helping someone who otherwise wouldn't be able to participate in the economy do so. Participation doesn't have to come in the form of advocacy and marching with a poster. Participation can become, hey, I want to open a credit card. Hey, I want to open a bank account. Hey, I want to open an investment account. Hey, I would like to know a little bit more about how to grow my money, how to plan my money. A budget planner, something as simple as a budget planner can help a person organize their money and help calm them. At the end of the day, we are a system of cells and a bloodstream, a nervous system. And so when we are untethered with our best potential, that means we're stressed. And distress leads to disease, it leads to failure, it leads to compounding problems that don't help us. And so when people turn to us, oftentimes they're expressing a need, they're expressing a desire, they're expressing an aspiration for change, and we have to meet them somewhere in that continuum. And so whether it's an action plan, whether it's simply helping a person with understanding motivation a little better, gaining some clarity and insight into their promise and potential, or answering a basic question. Hey, I saw this on the news. I would like to know how I can do this. I would like a rebate. I would like an opportunity to file a warranty. Do you all know any lawyers we can turn to? We've provided legal support by way of our partnerships with different community legal services. So there are all kinds of reasons that people might turn to a place like this. People who are in bankruptcy come to us completely tied up, as opposed to someone who, hey, I have the money, I'm doing all right, I just want to do better with my money, right? And so on that entire spectrum, we're able to serve individuals either with education, either with actual tools and resources, with introductions and warm handoffs, or with the simple idea of picking up the phone, calling one of our partners and saying, hey, can you help this person venture into this car loan or refinance?
So I hear a history of this financial empowerment center with tax prep as a seedling, and it grows and spreads its roots. And now,
take a
by all
second.
means,
I think my nose is, you running?
um,
Sorry.
and now you've got all these branches on this tree that are touching people at various points of building wealth, building credit, being banked, all these different aspects now. Where do you see the center going over the next 10 years? If it's evolved that much in 10 years, where do you see it going the next decade?
Over the next decade, I think personal finance has an avenue to merge with things like AI. Over the next decade, personal finance will have an avenue to make sure that the opportunities in entrepreneurship are fully vetted by those who have a need to make more income, whether those are side hustles, whether those become official businesses, or becoming more literate on that front, I think is the next level of participating in the economy. When the government shut down, it was really important for individuals, and during this more recent set of layoffs and such that was happening, it was really important for folks to understand how to get more involved by themselves and for themselves, and maybe how to leverage some of the skills that they already have and can take advantage of that in the marketplace. And so even if you're on your back, there's things you do well that you can get paid for. And so I think becoming literate on how those steps to earning income by way of using your hobbies, using your talents, using your gifts, your side hustle efforts, your the way you're constituted, finding a way to make money from that is going to be more important. And also AI. I think us being able to have that assistance so that people, when they are self-led and self-directed, can participate that way with reasonable education, reasonable information coming back to them, and a reasonable construct that can be assistive and can somewhat promote their best outcomes. I think that can help them along.
I would love to do a bit of like a call and repeat almost in a way. Can you finish this thought? Over the last 10 years, Prince George's Community College Financial Empowerment Center has shown or has proved blank.
Over the last 10 years, this type of work with this type of concentration has proved that financial education is not something in the void. It's not something in oblivion. It's not something that's lost on people. And there has been particular need and interest shown us. And when people come to the center, when people share with us how this effort turned their lives around, that is what the center has proven, that there is hope, that there is a sense of purpose, that there is a sense of I can be actualized in my money. This doesn't have to be a worry. This can be something that I actually have confidence in and can rinse and repeat. I can provide this level of repetition to serve myself and my life outcomes.
What's United Way of the National Capital Area's role in all this? Because if we left today, I get the sense you guys have built something that is lasting.
What's your question?
How do we support? How does United Way of the National Capital Area support this? Besides being a named partner and a grant funder in a way, because we don't fund all the work, it's my understanding, right? You guys have other partners that support you as well. So what's our role in this?
The United Way of the National Capital Area is vital to this work. The United Way has shared resources from, as we had discussed, a national network and a national framework on financial empowerment centers, prosperity centers, and Spark Points financial capability. So that conversation is important. The education that goes into the staff, learning about how to do the work and resourcing us in terms of professional development is also critical. The idea of having tools and resources around to give people is also critical. The idea of having capacity and people to interface with the public coming in on things like water relief bills and other types of initiatives around tax season is critical. And so it becomes an avenue for partnership, it becomes an avenue for resounding, creating an echo chamber of how the community has resources and getting that word out. And it becomes part of the connective tissue for when people call 211 or 311 or 411 to understand what is here, what are the things that exist as the wallpaper in their community that actually make things look better. And this is one of the things that make things look better. It makes you feel better to know I have a place I can go. Personally, when I was coming along, there was no financial empowerment center when I was a college student. And so seeing these kids' faces light up when we talk about where you would go if you stayed in this level of I don't know and ignorance and hey, this is irrelevant to me right now. I'll worry about money in my 30s. Well, you just lost 12 years. You just lost 5 years. You just lost 8 years. What could you do with 8 years of better money management? Where would you be? Here's what the trend lines say. Here's what the trajectories say. And having consumer education when there's recalls, having consumer education when there are things out there that you have a class action lawsuit capability towards, or you have some other legal footing and voice in a matter. These are the types of reasons why the United Way matters. United Way is able to get that message to places like Financial Empowerment Center, which collateralizes that message with its network of citizens and residents and community members.
Whether it's a client who was here once for tax help or maybe a student who has taken a number of different course offerings here through the FEC, what is your message to the thousands of clients over the last 10 years who have had a touch point with the center here?
We are as grateful as they are that they have chosen us to resolve a matter.
Love that. And we talked about this a little bit back, I guess it was December now, and I don't know if the answer has changed because now I've got you on your home turf. What's this center's superpower?
Well, the superpower of the Financial Empowerment Center is compassion, is an understanding of connecting compassion to their need, their interest, their aspiration, and advancing that with the things that we do well and are skilled to do well. Whether that's the one-on-one financial counseling where we help people move on that continuum of planning their money, spending their money, saving their money, protecting their money. What insurances are out there? What are the types of warranties I need to know about? What are the types of ways I have legal leverage in case something from this product or service is impugning my lifestyle? And also growing their money. And then leveling up, doing things beyond the basics to wealth build, to become wealth literate, to be able to retire one day, to be able to buy a business, to be able to own a home, to be able to do some of the things you hear about in news stories. That's not so distant from, hey, I've been saving $500 a month, or I saved $20 this year. Well, that may seem meager to some, but habits build on habits, and those habits build on the results of those habits, which helps an entire lifestyle change. And so these are the types of things that the Financial Empowerment Center, I'm sure, going forward and now is sort of keen on. And we're grateful for community members inviting us into their lives. We're grateful for the United Way being a constant. That idea of being a constant with funding and with branding and with sort of messaging allows us to also have purpose and standing. And so we're really grateful for that. I think whether it's 10 months out or 8 months out, seeing people who have a need met and an outcome realized, who even want better for their neighbor or their family member or their friend. I think that also, when we hear word of mouth recommendations, I think that's what also takes us to another level. We used to run radio ads, and those radio ads were powered by the funding we would get through the United Way. And people would hear about us on the radio when we're on doing TV interviews or such. And people see us there. Hey, I saw you on TV. I saw this on TV, or what have you. That means a lot to us. That only happens with the idea of this connected funding and collective impact.
As we wind down here, take me to the night of the 25th when you hear all the successful client stories that are going to be showered upon us. What goes through your heart when you hear that clients have had positive iterations, positive interactions with the FEC here, and they've had substantial change as a result? Does that fill your cup? Like, what goes through your heart when you hear that?
So when we bring folks together, it's important to realize the symmetry with how we're established, where we've come from, and the idea of trust. So ultimately, this type of funding mechanism and this type of impact is established because of not just somebody being convinced that you're capable of doing it, but the idea of trust. And when we've proven that in previous iterations of our programming that this is something that we're capable of, and that gets scaled, anytime something's scaled, at the root of that is, I believe you can do this again in a larger fashion. And so we've done investment education cohorts before where we focused on how people can learn about stocks and bonds, how people can learn about mutual funds and ETFs, exchange traded funds, and other types of mechanisms involving investment, whether it's cryptocurrency or what have you. We also know that we've worked with different cohorts throughout the years on this through funding in the past, because this was an exploratory area, a piloted area where we wanted expansion on. And at the end of these types of programs, it's always good to have a carrot. And in this case, $1,200 in a high yield savings account is not just a spike in the end zone, so to speak. It's a way of saying, hey, this isn't it. And now that you have the education to know that this $1,200 may seem rather small, but we have books in the center right here, how to turn $100 into $1 million. That's important. Those concepts can grow that money into something it's not today over time. And so seeing that belief and buy-in from folks when they see us, that is the celebration of and full circle of trust.
I think as we wind down, that got me thinking of something else that's so critical about how in the 10 years here, you have adapted so much to the needs of the community that you keep trying new things. Is that kind of an underlying goal of the center, an underlying core principle of the center, that you're always changing here?
Yeah, so the Financial Empowerment Center seeks to improve credit, increase savings, reduce debt, and increase the use of financial products. That was always the billing. And so the fact that the work we are laser focused on gets to grow each of those areas all at once is significant for me. And that's kind of the symmetry that I speak of, keeping things aligned with the vision and purpose of a place like a Financial Empowerment Center. At the end of the day, those are the outcomes we seek with clients. Now, are there other mechanisms and goals in money? Absolutely. The one thing I tell people that separates a goal from a dream is not only your consciousness, but the idea of it being time bound. And so we have this much time to do this thing. And so if we're able to say, like Seth Godin does, people like this do things like this,